to Bear Lifestyle, the podcast where we talk about taboo topics to make them normal and acceptable. I'm your host, Simona Spark, and I'm so happy that you are here. We are about to get naked by stripping away insecurities, judgments, and all kinds of limitations to reveal the essence of who we really are Bear. Bold, authentic, radical, express. Let's go. And here we are, season 5, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Let's continue with our little routine of opening with celebration. I'm celebrating you, I'm celebrating me, and I'm celebrating everyone who watches and listens to this podcast today. Cheers, cheers with a berry infused water. Oof, I am so excited for this season, and a tiny itsy bitsy, a little bit nervous. Well, as if you've been here before, you notice that I changed the intro and even the abbreviations for Bear. So we moved from a beautiful, authentic, real, and ever evolving. Those are still true. It's fundamental. And we go a little bit deeper. We move into bold, authentic, radical, and expressed. This is basically the work that I am taking my clients through in Bear private coaching or at the retreat. And speaking about the retreat, let's start with that. So the in-person retreat is taking place in October 28th, 21st, 22nd here in Beverly Hills, and we have 6 spots. You'll find the link in the show notes. And I really want you to read the details to see if this space is for you. Also, you will find the link to the Bear experiences, regardless where you are on your journey to access your Bear essence. Over time, I created multiple spaces to meet people where they are. And if none of them resonates with you and you still have questions, just please email me directly to transformation@simonaspark.com, or you could DM me on Instagram at simonasparkworld. All right, so why these little changes? For those of you that have been following me for a while, you know that I am someone who I'm speaking from where I'm at. And I invite everyone, especially those of you that are working in coaching spaces or mentorship or teachers, we are all taught how to meet our clients where they're at. My invitation is to meet yourself first where you are, on one hand. And on the other hand, I like to show up for others from a place of transformation, not from a place of information. Everyone is capable of reading a thing and then go create a space where they just regurgitate everything that they learn. That is just transmitting information. I like to show up from a place of transformation, meaning I done the work, meaning I walk the talk, right? And in this particular space, as you've been following me for the past few seasons, I talk about my dating space. I even have a whole season with my ex-boyfriend where we are in a long-distance relationship. Besides that, throughout this time, I've been still doing a lot of healing, right? And healing is such a big concept that we might need to circle back to this one and do a whole podcast just about that. But for this starting episode for this season, I want to talk a little bit about sexual healing. As someone who survived different types and form of shapes of sexual trauma, that you could find my story in my book, Raising My Voice. I will put that link in the show notes as well. I published the book in March of 2021. And it's been a beautiful and very hard healing process to get my story onto the paper. And then was another layer to publish the book. So now everything is out there for everyone to read, right? And what I did not expected was the deeper healing that happened afterwards. So it's been over 2 years, and it's absolutely fascinating for me to discover like so many different angles and so many hidden spots on this healing journey. So here's what I want to say to that. Regardless what kind of healing are you focusing on, I learned that whatever the piece is, the piece that you are focusing on healing, right? It is kind of required to put ourselves into that space, right? First of all, to be trigger, to trigger the trauma, if you wish. And then so we could pull it out, so we could look at it and heal it and release it and love it and accept it and everything that goes into it. And then second, to put ourselves into the same space just to check if there is other residue in there, right? So simply put, if I'm looking at the sexual trauma, in order to heal the sexual trauma, among many other things, I do need to have sexual activity. I do need to put my body into that space to see how my body is reacting. Am I triggered? Are there fears? Are there concerns? Am I able to relax? Am I able to enjoy? Like all these things. So I'm sharing this with you just to invite you to look at yourself and see what part in whatever area in your life it just doesn't feel good. And get curious about what doesn't let you feel good in that area. There is a blockage, right? And usually it's created by previous trauma, because in order to survive whatever type of shape or form of trauma, we create a story, a coping mechanism to overcome that. But the problem with that is that years after, when we are in a similar circumstance, we put the shell out. Why? Because our body learned that if we leave the guard down, we are going to be hurt again as we been hurt for the first time. So not to jump too fast into sexual trauma, I would like to ease into that direction and have a conversation with you about sensuality. I know sensuality and sexuality, they're two different things, but people kind of use it in the same way, and even on social media, or people receive it as being the same thing, and they are not. So I don't know about you, but for me, sensuality, it's such a beautiful doorway to experience life. It's such a magical tool to be used in so many different spaces, regardless if it's to have a sensual day, a sensual experience, or to have it be the key to have a sexual experience, or to have it be a important component and inside of a sexual experience, and even to be used into healing your sexual trauma. And why is that? Because sensuality, for me at least, is the most delicious way to get into my body, to be present in my body. It's all about feeling, right? We work with our senses, touch, like touching something, a specific texture that has a specific temperature, or to be touched by someone, or buy something, think about the clothing that you are wearing, right? How does it feel to wear a cotton shirt? How does it feel? How does it make you feel when you wear a cold silk robe, right? How does it feel to have your hair moving on your skin? All of that get to create a sensual experience that make us feel good. So if this feels too much, I want to invite you to look into the show notes. I'm going to put the link for the Bear Boot Camp. So a couple years ago, I created this 5-session training where I'm basically taking you through like scratching the surface of the bear essence. And there is a whole session about how to activate our senses and how to mindfully take life in so we experience life with pleasure. So it's an absolutely free training. Just look into the show notes and access it, and you have lifetime access for it. So yeah, this is the spaces where I want to take you, at least in this season, right? Because that's where I'm at. I'm in a space where I'm deepening my connection with myself and my connection with others. I'm opening myself up for deeper experiences, sensual experiences, sexual experiences, and really owning my sexuality, my desires, and act on it, creating the spaces to fulfill those desires. So talking about being bold, right? Because that's what we learn. We learn that if we go after what we want, and for God's sake, if it's a sexual desire, that it's bold, right? I won't even go into the negativity and negative labels of what people might say and critics and judgments. But just pay attention. What is the conversation that you have with yourself around your desires? Like, what is the first thought when you have a naughty thought? What is the thought that follows? Are you getting curious? How can you create it, and how could you have that? Or are you getting judgmental that you're not supposed to have it, and that's not allowed, or it's out of line, or you're too old for it, or too skinny, or too large, or whatever, right? So we get to redefine what bold means, and you get to redefine it for yourself. And your definition of that and your meaning of that get to be completely different than anybody else's. So that's what we are doing here. If I'm here to create a space where we reach in for the bare essence, I want you to understand that it's individual bare essence. My bare essence is different than your bare essence. And if I get to have one intention in this space, it stay the same like when I started last year in February, is to encourage you to say the things, to encourage you to say what you think, to allow yourself to fulfill your desires and to live your life fully, authentically. And if I get to do that for at least one person in each episode, I will call it a successful podcast. So I think I'm going to stop here for today. And I want to invite you to join the conversation. Join the conversation by leaving your comments, leaving your reviews, email me, contact me directly on Instagram at simonasparkworld. Ask your questions. If you have any suggestions about topics that you might be interested in. And I'm not here to say that I could talk about anything. I could talk about pretty much anything. Not that I'm expert in anything, but for sure, I'm going to speak from my own experience. And for sure, I'm going to give you my insight, my input, my opinion. And I will also love to invite more people for all of us to have different perspectives. So if you are someone that you are open to have a conversation in this space, just let me know. because as I say, I'm here to deepen and expand my experience. So one way to do that is to have those conversations with different people and get curious about how other people see things and what are their perspective and what are their view. So very, very, very exciting. I'm looking forward to hear from you in the comments or in my DM, or email me directly to transformation@simonaspark.com. Please don't forget to open the show notes and go ahead and access the Bear Bootcamp. It's absolutely free. Get curious about the Bear Retreat and see if that resonates with you. And let me know about your thoughts and about the topics that you are curious to have a conversation about here. All right, I will see you next week. Same time, same place. Cheers, everyone. And this is where we landed. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And if you enjoyed the show, make sure you leave me a review to let me know. For more bear experiences, please go to simonaspark.com/bear and follow us on Instagram at simonasparkworld. I can't wait to have you back. Until then, be bear, bold, authentic, radical, expressed. See you next time.